Hello. Oh. Okay, I really enjoyed your lesson last week. Do you remember what happened? You want to talk about how did you think it went?
For something that well, since we started with recorders, it could something that can go really, really poorly, and then only if you're really, really lucky does it go well. Because it's just you're giving 9-year-olds loud instruments, so
Absolutely.
I think I had a couple times to go through it a little bit before the lesson that you saw, so that was probably the third time I taught it, and it was more, figuring out when was the right time to actually hand those out, and making sure that they knew, the consequences, that if you're playing the recorders, this will happen, and that you can tell that they have enough self-discipline to stay quiet and knowing that they will be able to play.
Right, exactly. So you had wanted me to work on check for understanding and summarizing.
Yes.
And I was really impressed because as I went through my notes, I did the selective verbatim observation again. So I was just looking this time just for those two things.
Okay.
So you can see from where I put summarizing and check marks, you did it a lot of times. You did a lot of times where you had them talk to their partners, to have them restate the directions. You summarized your directions a lot of times also. I know that when you teach a lesson for 3rd grade, you get to do it a few times.
Yes.
Did you change it at all from how you did it the first few times?
Yes, but I think I more adapted knowing the behavioral issues it may have. For instance, the first time I taught the lesson with that particular class, they didn't receive recorders at all that day. It was more, they learned the song before they did anything else, so it was completely backwards. They learned the song, they learned how to sing the song. I don't even remember if we got to the song with
this group. Yeah, you worked on the B, and then you added the next note.
Yeah, so what I did was, essentially I took 2 lessons and I swapped them. So I went over procedures with that first class and then taught the song, and now for the class that you saw, we went over procedures and they got the recorders and they worked with experimenting with the notes. But then next week they will they'll actually learn the song and then be able to play the first song in the curriculum.
Right. Okay. Great. At one point you said take turns being the leader and the follower, and you modeled doing a simple rhythm. And then they were able to, because you modeled it so well, they were able to do that. You did a lot of checking for understanding, like I said, a lot of turning back to your partner. Now, I noticed from the last time that I observed you, you included that a lot more. How do you feel that went? Do you feel like that's a strategy that you're going to use a lot more in the future?
Yeah, certainly. I think that definitely one, checking with their partner, because they see their classmates a lot more often than they see me. So it also gives that, and in addition, it's their peers. And whereas I want to create that, very constructive classroom where they're teaching as much as they are learning,
Absolutely.
that gives them that opportunity.
Right. So I noticed that there was a lot more engagement this time also. And I know because your classroom setup is very difficult because you're set up with basically computer stations that you have to teach music in. So I noticed that there was a lot more engagement because, like you said, they were teaching each other and they were responsible for each other instead of just you teaching and them maybe listening, maybe playing around. So I definitely noticed that there was a lot more student engagement. As far as summarizing too, you did a lot of that. Tell your partner, what did I say? Let's see, what else for summarizing? Your partner's going to watch you practice, and I really saw them actually correcting each other and say, no, put your finger here, and they really did a great job with that. At one point, you did ask them, when you asked them to do that, some of the students in the corner got right to it, and there was a group of them in the front that weren't doing it yet.
They are easily distracted by it.
But you automatically, as soon as you saw that, you came over, and then as soon as you modeled with them what to do, they got right on top, on task, and they really did a great job. If you had to do this one more time, do you think you would change anything else?
I think I would start with a more central activity, maybe focusing on, you know, what they should already know about recorders and have them feel like they made more of the procedures, because they're smart kids. They'll know that it's probably not a good idea to be playing when the teacher's talking or something like that. You know, don't lightsaber, you know, sword fight with recorders. That maybe if they had come up with it themselves, they would have owned it a little bit more.
Right.
That's some things that I can maybe implement as a do now for future lessons. Like, what are some of the rules we remember? What are some that maybe we can add or something like that? So it's not just the teacher in
You're
front
telling them. Right. Right, absolutely. Because like you said, as a more constructivist culture and classroom that you want, that would be a great idea. I think that would be awesome. And I loved how the one boy said, I know that your quiet signal is quiet, coyote.
Yes.
So then when you said that with the recorders, you were going to ask them to put it on their chin, and he made that connection. He said, oh, it's kind of like the quiet coyote, but for recorders.
Yeah.
So that was really great. Like you said, they were really internalizing why we need to have these rules, what the signals could be. So I thought that was great. I mean, for being, as you said, 8-year-olds getting a very noisy item for the first time that they were very excited about, they did great. Like, they were so on task, they were so engaged, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Right.